I hope you got some good tips today on how to overcome barriers to movement. And for those of you that are interested in this whole process-based therapy angle, movement is one of the biological factors that interacts with your psychological factors, things like your attention, your motivation, your sense of self. And as Jason Lillis said, no one size fits all for every person, and no one size fits all for you across your lifespan. Your movement is going to change over time. What I did in my 20s is totally different from what I did in my 30s and what I do now in my 40s. For those of you that are curious about how I move my body, I have a much more diverse movement diet, as Katie Bowman would call it, than I used to have. When I was in my teens and 20s, I either ran or I ran or I ran. That was pretty much it. And it became very compulsive and hard on my body. Over time, I've learned yoga is super great for my spine. So I incorporate yoga, little short sessions, but also try and get to at least one long yoga class a week. And I also find that being in person in a group setting has a big mood boost for me when it comes to movement. I also like HIIT training and just recently picked up a HIIT training class again, which is super fun, going at 5:30 in the morning, maybe once, sometimes twice a week, where it's loud music, it's strong people, it's throwing balls, it's doing all sorts of crazy moves that I think that I can't do in my 40s, and challenging myself again has been really fun. And yes, I run, but I also walk, and that is an important part of my movement diet, as well as going for hikes with friends and trail running with my son. So whatever your movement is, I want you to try to use some of the skills that Jason and I talked about this week to break through your movement barriers. And here is what we talked about. First, we talked about environmental barriers and how to structure your environment to support movement. So create some open spaces in your home. Get rid of the coffee table. It's really not necessary. And if you have no coffee table, all of a sudden you have space to get on the floor and stretch or play a game on the floor instead of playing it on your coffee table. I would also recommend configuring your space so that you don't always have to sit in the same chair, have multiple different options for how you could work, and bring in objects that are new, sort of like I used to do with my kids' toys that evoke movement. So big balls, yoga mats, bands, whatever it is that would get you to move more in your home. Motivation barriers. Try the miracle question. Try this for yourself right now. If I could wave a magic wand and you were exercising regularly, you may have already done this at some point in your life, so you may have a memory of what this is like for you. How would it impact the important domains of your life? What would happen to you at work? What would happen to you in your relationship with your partner? How about in your friendships? How about in your fun, your leisure? And then how about your relationship with yourself? What would shift for you? And when you get that picture in your mind, you can start to uncover why it is important for you to move your body. It goes beyond just weight loss or shape or even health for many of us. Thought barriers. Change your butts to ands. What's one but that you have? And one that I often will say is, I want to go to yoga, but I'm so tired. Another one is, I want to exercise in the morning, but it's still dark outside. Change it to the and. I want to go to yoga and I'm tired. Acknowledging the and side of things and then continuing to take yourself in that direction. You can have both. You can choose both. Guilt barriers. If you have guilt about exercising and that guilt is unjustified, try opposite action. Do the thing that you feel guilty about over and over again. And either you'll habituate to it or you'll start to learn, wow, I can actually have a feeling and do something that's opposite from what that feeling is telling me. If it's unjustified guilt, then why are you letting that guilt drive you? Technology barriers. I want you to examine whether or not you could use your phone to be of benefit to you. Could you gamify your workout? Some people like to close the circle on things, or use your phone as a way to increase the reward of your exercise, whether that's calling a friend on a walk or that's listening to your favorite podcast, Your Life in Process, going back and listening to some of my 100 past episodes. They're all available for you. And then finally, behavioral barriers. Starting small, making small, sustainable changes over time. We know the research on that. Try it. And sometimes just go big. Go do something that you feel like you can't do and prove your mind wrong. Take on a challenge, sign up for a race, go do an activity that you've always wanted to do but thought you weren't good enough to try. Experiment, see what works for you. Okay, enjoy moving your body this week. I'll probably be posting some stuff on social where I'll show you some of the things that I'm doing to move my body. Hey, if you wanted to post on social and tag me, I would love that. I'm trying to get a little bit more engagement, a little bit more energy around this podcast, and you will see the fruits of that energy that I'm building up here in the next few weeks. In the meantime, enjoy movement, and I'll see you next week with another researcher, this time who's going to be talking about all of the good things for your brain that happen when you move your body across your lifespan. I can't wait to share that episode with you. Alrighty, take care.